is up, everybody? Bobby here, the Nintendo Guru, and we're right back at it. Here we are, another Nintendo Guru Daily. Today, we're going to talk about my favorite game of all time. And the reason why is because apparently there's some news that came out today, and people are talking about it. What is my favorite game of all time? Well, it's none other than Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! If you can see, I got a coaster here. Thanks, Josh Stapleton. Made this for me a couple years ago. Love this thing. Use it all the time, every day. Sits right here while I have my drink and all that stuff. But so here's the thing. Here's the news story. Mike Tyson came out on Twitter today and essentially kind of called out Nintendo because he's not happy. He's a little upset. Basically, he tweeted and said, "Heard," and he put at Nintendo, "was doing a new Punch-Out without even contacting me. It won't be the same. My knockouts made the game. That's whack." So that's what Tyson's saying. The first thing people say is there confusion? Is Mike Tyson being confused about the NES version that's hitting next week? Should it be Mike Tyson's Punch-Out coming next week? You ask me, I say yes. And I've wished that Nintendo would kind of get that license back and re-implement Mike Tyson in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! I love Mike Tyson better than Mr. Dream, hands down. It just, back in the day, it meant something when you were fighting Mike Tyson, because at the time, and I don't think a lot of people realize that, Mike Tyson was just nasty. Like, go back on YouTube right now if you've never watched a Tyson fight and just type in Mike Tyson's knockouts. Like, this guy was brutal back in the day. And I'm not talking at the end of his career. I'm talking in early days of his career, when, before this game came out, people were literally afraid of Mike Tyson. Boxers would go in the ring and be scared to death. Like, before the bell even rang, these boxers had lost. And for me, and I remember being a kid and going to school every day and everybody talking about, "Oh my God, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! This game is the best thing ever." And we would talk about beating different boxers, and once someone figured out how to do something to beat a boxer in advance, it was always at how far could you get. We didn't have the code in the very beginning of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! That didn't come until probably almost year 2 of that game being out before someone leaked that code. And by the way, if you called Nintendo Power, the Nintendo Power hotline, they wouldn't tell you the code. They denied that there was a code to get to Tyson. So essentially, like, your friends would always talk about this and all this stuff. But the lure was basically because Tyson was just so mythical and so hard to beat in the game and in real life. Like, at that point, nobody ever thought there was a way to beat Mike Tyson in real life. Nobody thought Mike Tyson would ever lose. He had the moniker the baddest man on the planet, and there was a reason for that, because the guy was just nasty. And I'm talking pre-Don King days. Like, yeah, he was pretty wicked in the early part of the relationship with Don King, but like back before Don King, when it was Customato and Kevin Rooney was his trainer and all that, these people were scared to death of the guy. And the way that Nintendo portrayed him in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! Was exactly how fighters had to deal with. They'd go in and he would knock you out with one punch, and had these nasty uppercuts that he would throw in real boxing matches, and then so much so in the game, and it was pretty incredible. I've always felt like boxing kind of fell off after Tyson, after Holyfield and Tyson kind of left the fold, after Tyson got really crazy, doing some crazy stuff and biting ears, and yet, like, boxing fell off. But I've always thought that, like, Mike Tyson's never fallen off, and Mike Tyson has always been this circus draw, and Nintendo should tap back into that and bring him back and just hire him back, license him back. He's more subdued now. He's more of a businessman now, and I would love to see Nintendo work with him again and go, like, let's do a new Punch-Out! With Mike Tyson. Maybe you call it Mike Tyson's Revenge or something, where, hey, in the last time Little Mac beat him, okay, so here it is. Now we're going to have a new Tyson and all that. Nintendo will never do it, and I would even just like to see him brought back just for the original game, so this way we don't have Mr. Dream anymore. I'm not a fan of Mr. Dream, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not, it's not cool. It's whatever. It feels like Tyson's missing, and I would love Tyson back. But let's put a pin in that. That's there. So the question is, and a lot of people bring up, is Tyson talking about Punch-Out coming to Nintendo Online next week, or is he talking about a new Punch-Out? And I feel like there's a catch-22 here. I feel like he's really talking about the NES game, and I feel like the media and people are talking about a new Punch-Out because they're trying to spin this to be more than it really is. I don't think that Tyson has any inside knowledge into what Nintendo's doing, and I don't think that Mike Tyson would know about a brand new Nintendo game before typical media insiders would know. There's no way that he would know about this prior. I totally believe he's talking about the NES game. But that said, do I think we're going to get a new Punch-Out? I really believe it. I really believe, because when you look back over the history of Nintendo, when the very successful consoles hit, we got a Punch-Out. Every time Nintendo had popular, successful consoles, we always got a Punch-Out. And I know that boxing just isn't what it used to be. It's fallen off big time. UFC is the big dog, per se. But I still feel like there's a world for boxing to help and to work and to be a solid sport on a Nintendo console. And I really feel that with Little Mac and Smash, and I feel that so many people love Little Mac, I feel like a Punch-Out on the Switch makes a lot of sense. So much sense. And even though boxing itself doesn't transcend into this juggernaut sport anymore, that game is still a huge game within the world of Nintendo. And it's one that, like, you got Little Mac and Smash, and Little Mac and Smash doesn't happen without the fact of, you know, it's a huge franchise for Nintendo, and it's a huge character for Nintendo. So I would love to see that kind of move in. The last time we had a Punch-Out was on the Wii. It was a great game. So I would love to see them kind of go back, lean into that, and just go back again and go, we're going to bring a new Punch-Out out. Because, man, I'll be honest, I would love it. I know there's a lot of people that would love it. But I feel like this is not something that happens this year. It's probably next year, honestly. I feel like E3 is, this year in E3 is very stacked for Nintendo. So if we are to get a new Punch-Out, I feel like it happens in 2020, not 2019. And I don't even think we hear about it until E3 2020. I feel like that's one of those games that can actually elevate 2020. There's so much stuff rumored right now that's going on right now. The Zeldas, the Metroids, the Persona 5, all this stuff that apparently Best Buy is leaking at the moment. It just makes sense to me that this game does come in 2020. To go back to the basis of the story, I don't think that Mike Tyson's onto anything. I think it's just Game Informer just trying to drum up a story, make it something that it's not. When you read it and you look at the context, give it the time, Nintendo just a couple days ago announced the game. They showed the trailer and all that stuff for the game. It's not. And that's the game that Mike Tyson was in. You know what I mean? So I think it's not what people think it is. So that is all. Thank you guys for watching another episode of Nintendo Guru Daily. I truly appreciate it. Let me know, comments below. A, do you think that Mike Tyson was talking about a new Punch-Out or the NES Punch-Out? And 2, how excited would you be for a new Punch-Out? Let me know, comments below. If you liked the video, please slap the like button down below. Share it with all your friends. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Follow me, Instagram, Twitter, @Nintendo Gurus. That is all. Peace out, Preston.